Right now, on cruise ships all over the world, thousands of passengers are making the exact same morning mistake. They're waking up, heading straight to the buffet, and standing in long lines just to eat watery scrambled eggs and rubbery bacon from a steam tray. But what they don't realize is that just a few steps away, the ship's culinary team has been awake since 3 a.m., baking fresh pastries and prepping ingredients for high-end, made-to-order breakfasts that would easily cost you $30 on land. And every single one of those options is already included in your cruise fare. Today, we're skipping the buffet lines. From hidden made-to-order stations most people walk right past, to dining room upgrades and overlooked items the majority of passengers never even try. This is what smart cruisers actually eat for breakfast. Secret number 1. The custom order omelet hack. The very first breakfast move smart cruisers make is skipping the scrambled eggs in the steam tray and heading straight to the made-to-order omelet station. On almost every cruise ship, there's a dedicated spot where a cook will make you a fresh omelet right in front of you. But here's what usually happens. Passengers see a short line, assume it's going to take too long, and walk away to grab scrambled eggs from the buffet. That's the first mistake of the day, because the omelet station is a completely different experience. The scrambled eggs under the heat lamps are made in large batches, often from liquid egg mix. But at the omelet station, you're getting a fresh, made-to-order breakfast. Eggs cooked on the spot with fillings you actually choose. The vegetables are fresher, the texture is better, and the entire dish feels closer to a real restaurant breakfast than anything sitting in a buffet tray. The difference in quality is immediate. But if you really want to eat like a smart cruiser, you need to know how to order. Don't just point, be specific. Say things like extra cheese, light on the peppers, mushrooms, and spinach, fold it tight. When you give clear instructions, the cook shifts from assembly line mode to a custom order, and the result is a better, more balanced omelet. You get a soft center, evenly distributed fillings, and a finished product that's far beyond what you'll get from the buffet. And here's an important tip for plant-based and vegan cruisers. Don't settle for fruit while everyone else gets a hot breakfast. On many cruise lines, if you ask ahead of time, the dining room or kitchen can often prepare options like a tofu scramble or other custom alternatives. The key is simply knowing to ask. Secret number 2. The Port Day Power Breakfast. On port days, the buffet turns into chaos. Thousands of passengers are all trying to eat at the same time so they can rush off the ship, which means long lines, crowded seating, and a stressful start to your day. Smart cruisers skip it entirely. Instead, they head straight to the grab-and-go stations for a fast, high-quality breakfast. On Carnival, that means Blue Iguana Cantina. On Royal Caribbean, it's often El Loco Fresh. Both serve fresh, made-to-order breakfast burritos that take about 2 minutes, and they're included in your fare. This is one of the smartest breakfast moves on the ship. You get a warm tortilla filled with eggs, cheese, salsa, peppers, and toppings of your choice. And you can take it anywhere, out to the deck, up to the pool, or straight off the ship while everyone else is still looking for a table. And for vegetarian or vegan cruisers, this is a huge win. Instead of picking through buffet options, you can build a custom wrap with black beans, hash browns, and grilled vegetables. It's fast, filling, and far more efficient before a long day in port. Now, if you want something sweet instead of savory, the move is the waffle station. Cruise ship waffles are thick, Belgian style, made fresh, and come out crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside. But what really elevates them is the topping bar: maple syrup, whipped cream, Nutella, chocolate chips, fresh fruit. And here's the vacation upgrade: add a scoop of soft-serve ice cream on top. It might not be right next to the station on every ship, but it's usually nearby, and it turns a simple waffle into something way more memorable. Secret number 3. The early bakery advantage. While most passengers are still asleep, the ship's bakery team is already working. On cruise ships, pastry chefs typically start between 2 and 4 a.m., prepping doughs, proofing, and baking in batches so everything comes out fresh right as breakfast begins. And that timing matters because items like croissants and danishes are at their absolute best early in the service. A properly made cruise ship croissant should be flaky, buttery, and light with crisp outer layers and a soft, airy center. And when you catch them fresh, they're genuinely comparable to what you'd get at a good bakery on land. But here's what most people miss. The best pastries on the ship aren't what most people are eating. They're what you catch early. By mid-morning, those same pastries have been sitting out, cooling down, and losing the texture that makes them special. That's why experienced cruisers either show up early or change where they eat. If you really want the bakery at its best, skip the buffet and go to the main dining room. Instead of grabbing pastries from an open tray, you can get a curated basket of croissants, pain au chocolat, and muffins served fresh to your table. Now, on some ships, the waiter will bring this automatically. But if they don't drop a pastry basket on your table right when you sit down, don't worry, they still have them in the back. You just have to explicitly ask your waiter for the morning pastry basket as soon as you take your seat. It's not necessarily a different bakery, but it is a much better experience. And here's the insider move. If you like something, ask for more. A second basket, extra croissants, specific items. They'll bring it without hesitation. It's one of the easiest ways to turn a basic cruise breakfast into something that actually feels premium. Secret number 4, the hidden crepe station. This next one is one of the most overlooked and highest quality breakfast items on the entire ship. On many ships, there's a made-to-order crepe station, often tucked into a quieter corner of the buffet or occasionally offered in the dining room. And because it's not front and center, it usually has a fraction of the traffic. But this is where the quality jumps. Cruise lines known for strong food programs like Royal Caribbean and Princess take this seriously, treating it less like a buffet item and more like a culinary station. But you can also find excellent versions on Norwegian and other ships, if you know where to look. A well-made cruise ship crepe is a completely different level of breakfast. The cooks working these flat griddles have the technique dialed in from making thousands of them. They spread the batter paper thin, creating a soft, delicate center with lightly crisp golden edges. And because the griddles run hot, the entire process takes about 2 minutes from start to finish. It's fast, fresh, and a noticeable upgrade from the standard pancake station. You can absolutely go savory with ham and cheese, but the real insider move is the sweet version. Nutella and banana is the classic order. Add strawberries, whipped cream, or even just a dusting of lemon and sugar. And it turns into a breakfast that feels far more premium than anything sitting under a heat lamp. The key is simple. If you see a crepe station, don't walk past it. It's one of the few places on the ship where you're getting something made fresh, on the spot, and at a noticeably higher quality than the buffet staples. Secret number 5. The high-end brunch classics. The buffet is built for volume, which is exactly why it struggles with dishes that require timing and precision. This is where smart cruisers change strategy. Instead of fighting the buffet, they sit down in the main dining room at least once and order the one-dish cruise kitchens execute at a consistently high level. In fact, this is the one breakfast dish experienced cruisers choose over everything else. And it's this: Eggs Benedict, made to order. You get a properly poached egg with a runny yolk, a toasted English muffin, Canadian bacon, and warm hollandaise that's smooth, buttery, and balanced, not something sitting under a heat lamp. And because cruise ships have the staffing and structure to support it, they can produce this consistently at a level most hotels simply can't match. On some ships, you'll also see upgraded versions, like smoked salmon Benedict, and occasionally crab cake or other variations depending on the line and itinerary. If you only do one main dining room breakfast your entire cruise, this is the one to plan it around. But the upgrade doesn't stop there. You also need to know how to order your meats. The bacon in the buffet trays is usually thin cut and held under heat. In the main dining room, or sometimes at grill stations, you can request thicker cut bacon with better texture and flavor. And here's the move: ask for it extra crispy. The kitchen will usually adjust it for you, and the difference is immediate. Same ingredient, completely different result. That's the pattern to follow. When a dish depends on timing, temperature, or technique, skip the buffet and go to the dining room. That's how you turn a standard cruise breakfast into something that actually feels like a high-end brunch. Secret number 6. The cult classic French toasts. Setting an alarm for breakfast on vacation might sound ridiculous, but smart cruisers know there are a few main dining room dishes so good they're actually worth planning your morning around. The first is the overnight French toast. This is in a completely different category from what you'll find at the buffet or what most people make at home. Cruise kitchens use thick-cut brioche soaked overnight in a custard of eggs, cream, vanilla, and cinnamon. That overnight soak is the key. It transforms the texture into something rich and custardy in the center, almost like bread pudding, while the outside develops a golden caramelized crust on the griddle. Served with powdered sugar, fresh berries, and warm maple syrup, it's easily one of the most indulgent breakfasts on the ship. The true insider item is the specialty French toast. This is a rotating dish that shows up on many cruise lines, sometimes called things like brioche French toast or even Carnival's famous 12-hour version, and usually only on select mornings in the dining room. It's made from thick, custard-soaked bread that's griddled into a rich, almost bread pudding-like slice that's soft, dense, and melts in your mouth. Because it's not available every day, repeat cruisers actively watch for it. They'll check the dining app or menu the night before, and when it appears, they plan their morning around it. If you ever see bread pudding, French toast on your menu, don't hesitate. Get to the dining room and order it while it's available. Secret number 7. The luxury foods you're already paying for. One of the best parts of cruising is eating foods that would cost a premium on land without paying anything extra. But most passengers walk right past them. On land, a proper lox bagel or a plate of exotic fruit can easily cost $15 to $25. On a cruise ship, those same items are sitting at the breakfast buffet included in your fare. Let's start with smoked salmon. A lot of people skip it because they think of it as a lunch or dinner food, but on a cruise, it's a breakfast staple, especially on premium lines, and the quality is usually excellent. The smart cruiser move is to build your own plate. Take a toasted bagel, add cream cheese, layer on smoked salmon, then top it with capers, red onion, and a squeeze of lemon. You just made a restaurant-level breakfast without spending $1. But it doesn't stop there. You also need to rethink the fruit section. If you're only grabbing melon and grapes, you're missing one of the biggest hidden upgrades on the ship. Depending on your itinerary, especially in the Caribbean or Southeast Asia, cruise lines regularly stock tropical fruits like papaya, dragon fruit, passion fruit, star fruit, and mango. In many cases, these are sourced regionally and loaded closer to peak ripeness than what you'd typically find at home. And you can taste the difference. Pineapple, in particular, is noticeably sweeter and more flavorful on Caribbean itineraries compared to store-bought versions that have spent long periods in transit. Passengers who skip the fruit station thinking it's basic are missing one of the freshest and most genuinely premium options at breakfast. Secret number 8. The low-key premium upgrades most people overlook. This final strategy is for anyone who wants a lighter breakfast but still wants it to feel premium. And knowing exactly what to order and where to find it is what separates smart cruisers from everyone else. If you walk through the buffet, you'll usually find basic, watery oatmeal that's been sitting in a steam tray. But in the main dining room, it's a completely different experience. There, you'll often find slow-cooked, steel-cut oats that have been simmering for hours. The texture is thicker, creamier, and far more flavorful. And it's served with a full range of toppings like nuts, dried fruit, honey, and fresh berries. These are some of the most overlooked breakfast items on the ship. The same goes for yogurt parfaits. They don't look impressive at first glance, but cruise ships typically use thick Greek yogurt layered with granola, fruit, and honey. And on many ships, that granola is made or finished on board, giving it a fresher texture and flavor than standard packaged versions. And if you're plant-based, don't settle for what's on display. In the main dining room or specialty coffee shops, you can usually request alternatives like oat milk, almond milk, or soy milk for your oatmeal and coffee. It just isn't always advertised. And on some ships, if you ask ahead, the kitchen can even prepare off-menu items like vegan pancakes or waffles. But here's the part most people miss entirely: the breakfast beverage trap. Those juice dispensers at the buffet? That's standard juice from concentrate, the same thing you'd buy in a carton at home. The real upgrade is freshly squeezed juice. It has a brighter flavor, natural sweetness, and real texture, and it instantly elevates your entire breakfast. Now here's what you need to know. As of 2026, on most major cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and Norwegian, fresh squeezed juice is considered a premium item, which means it's either charged per glass or included with a beverage package. So the smart cruiser move is simple. On your first morning, ask your main dining room waiter, or check with the fresh juice bar or cafe if your ship has one, whether fresh juice is included in your package. If it is, order it every day. It's one of the easiest ways to upgrade your entire breakfast experience without spending anything extra. Breakfast is just the beginning of your day at sea. But I want to hear from you. What's the one cruise ship breakfast item you never skip? Drop it in the comments, because some of the best cruise finds come from other cruisers. And if you want to keep outsmarting the crowds and cruising like a smart cruiser, hit subscribe and check out the next video right here. I'll see you on the next one.